Welcome back to Curses Minds. My name is Commander Curses, and today I'm going to be talking in depth about the systems menu and how to control the power going to your systems. I'll also look at a little bit about heat in the game, and I'll talk about engine boost as well. So stick around and check it out. Okay, the last system I want to talk about right now is the systems menu. It's on the right hand side of the cockpit. You can see my commander name and my ship type, my credit balance, and my crime record and how much bounty I have. I've been keeping it pretty clean, as you can see. I only killed 4 people, and that was because they shot first, although I'm sure we're going to have a lot more fun later on in the series as time goes by. You can also look at the modules and turn systems on and off individually. You might want to do that if your systems are overheating, if maybe you're trying to run colder. We'll talk about running cold or silent running later on. And you want to stop your aircraft from getting damaged. You can turn them off by just selecting them, so I can turn off all of these systems, and you can see my total power usage goes down and down. Better turn the life support back on though. And as you can see, the heat generated is going down and down. Fire groups, it's not very complicated on this. I only have 2 hard points. I have 2 pulse lasers, and they both are in fire group 1, so that's the primary fire button. You can also in bigger ships have different weapon groups, more hard points, and you can have the different fire buttons for different weapon groups. Cargo shows the cargo. I only have 4 cargo in my cargo hold at the moment, and that's 4 tons of fish, so I'll be taking them onto the next station. And then there's the functions, manually controlling the different functions. So with this I can select faction, although there's no factions in the game yet. You can select whether your landing gear is deployed or retracted, and that takes a couple of seconds to happen. The cargo scoop for picking up cargo you can deploy, although I think I turned it off in the other menu, so I don't think that that will work. Cargo hatch, we'll turn that on, and now I can lower the cargo scoop.
Cargo scoop deployed. Cargo scoop retracted.
And then there you can turn your distress beacon on in case you run out of fuel and you need help. Silent running, we'll talk about this later. It basically shuts all the heat vents and shuts down your shields so that you run really cold. And you can see in my cockpit now I've got my heat really low, and it's kind of icing over, which is a pretty neat effect. And we'll come back to this menu. So silent running is basically used to stop yourself getting detected by enemy ships that it may be trying to find you, or the police if you're smuggling into a station and you don't want them to scan your cargo and open fire. You can turn the ship lights on and off, although at the moment, since I'm in the middle of a space, there's nothing for them to reflect off of. So I'm going to turn them back off. Flight assist, we'll talk about that when we talk about more about flying. Rotational correction, that's for when you dock in a station. Turret weapons, well, I don't have any of them. Report detected crimes. If I see anyone shoot an innocent, I will report it directly to the cops, and similarly reporting crimes against me, and that will mean that they end up with a criminal record. Gunsight mode, sensor scale, and self-destruct, which I'm not going to demonstrate right now. Okay, so let's look at a bit more about flying. So what I currently have my systems in a funny way. I'm just going to turn them all back on, put my shields back on. I think I might be out of the protective range of the station now, and you can see my shields are now how far away? 15 kilometers away, so they wouldn't be able to protect me with their lasers now. You can see now that my heat has gone up, and my heat load depicted by the vertical bar on the left hand side of the scanner map is up to 26% and climbing. So now my windows are no longer fogged over or iced over. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about one of the features that's in the game currently, and that's flight assist. So at the moment I've got my engines down at only 2 bars. Oh, and I'm only at a maximum of 80 kilometers an hour because my landing gear is deployed. If I turn my landing gear off, and I have a hotkey for that, you don't have to always go into that menu, you can see my speed climbs back up to 160. But if I do the engine boost, which gives me a boost up to my maximum speed and uses a bunch of my engine charge, you can see my speed goes all the way up to 300 and is now decaying back down. This is useful for getting away quickly, but you can only do it a limited number of times, as the engine charge needs to get all the way back up before you can do it again. So I can do it again now, but before I do it, I'm going to turn off flight assist. Flight assist is the thing which corrects your movement left and right and up and down, so that you, well, like in real space, there's nothing to slow you down or stop you from rolling around and tumbling and shooting off into the middle of nowhere. And as you can see, my speed increased to my maximum, 320, but it didn't slow down again because I have nothing slowing me down. I'm not my flight assist is no longer helping correct the movement of my ship. So as a consequence, if I pull back on the stick and tilt up, it just keeps rolling. And if I do a bit of roll, I start going around in an odd manner. If I shoot myself vertically, and so you can see it's not very easy to control without flight assist. So I can just turn it back on and I'll end up being propelled along by my engines in the direction that I was going. As you can see now, I'm going backwards, so I'll just right myself and go forwards. And down here is where the space station is. Alright, so let us go and look at something else. One feature I wanted to talk about was something that's implemented into the game when you arrive at a star from a hyper jump, and you see the circle, which represents the kind of gravitational envelope of the star. And what happens is you if you get too close to the star, it drops you out of the Supercruise, but you can skim along the surface of this imaginary sphere, which is the gravitational envelope. As you can see in my target, I have to skim along the thing to get to the station that I'm going to. You can see in the top right hand corner of my scanner, it's just above me. But what happens if I go too close? It does an emergency stop and I end up floating at normal speed and too close to a star, so I need to go back into Supercruise. But in order to actually get to the place I'm going to, which is directly behind the star by the look of it, oh no, disregard, I'm going to go back to reserve, so I'll lock in Supercruise, charging up. It's directly behind me.
Ready to engage.
So go back to reserve is this way, but if you can see the blue rectangle, I have to actually align with the escape vector in order to actually get into Supercruise. That's to get out of the gravitational well, and that's a interesting realism feature that they've added to the game, and I think it's quite neat, and I wanted to show you guys that. So now I'll just proceed on to my destination as if nothing had happened. Thanks for watching, and I hope that some of this information was useful to you. In the next episode I'm going to talk more about trading and get a new ship to help with that, the Hauler. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye!